All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of Salesforce's most powerful tools, approval processes. We're going to break down how they work, compare the classic, tried and true method with the powerful new feature that is Flow, and really figure out what it all means for you and your business. But first, let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? You're waiting and waiting for a manager to approve a discount on a huge sale. Or maybe you put in a leave request and it feels like it just vanished into thin air. Yeah, we've all been there, right? Stuck in that frustrating loop of just chasing people down for a simple yes or no. Well, that exact headache is what Salesforce approval processes were built to solve. Think of it like a digital bouncer for your business. It stands at the door, automatically enforcing your rules and making sure that every single request gets the right sign-offs from the right people every single time. You know, a really great way to picture a multi-step approval is to think of it like a job interview. It's pretty simple. You pass round one, you get to move on to round two, you get the green right there, maybe you move on to the next stage. But a no at any point, that's it. Process over. It's just a series of checkpoints that a record has to clear. So, when you boil it all down, an approval process is just an automated sequence of steps that a record has to go through before it gets the final stamp of approval or rejection. It's all about taking a manual, often messy workflow, like getting an expense report signed off, and turning it into this beautiful, streamlined, and totally trackable process. So let's start with the original recipe, shall we? The classic way of building these automations in Salesforce. This has been the standard for years, and honestly, it's a really powerful wizard-driven approach that a ton of admins out there know and love. Setting one up follows a really clear guided path. First, you just pick the object you want it to run on, say an opportunity or a leave request. Then you define the entry criteria, which are basically the rules that kick the whole thing off. After that, you assign who needs to approve it, you tell the system what to do when it's approved or rejected, and boom, you activate it. It's a very structured journey. Now, the process is really just built from a few core parts. It all starts with the entry criteria. That's the rule that asks, hey, does this specific record need approval? Think something like, is the discount on this sale over 10%? If the answer is yes, then it moves through the approval steps and triggers all the automated actions you've set up for submission, final approval, or rejection, like updating a field or shooting off an email. But, in the world of Salesforce automation, things are always changing. And while that classic method is super reliable, it's not the only game in town anymore. The future of approvals is here, and its name is Flow. And it is a powerful new way to handle all your automation needs. That's right, with the Spring 25 release, Salesforce gave approvals a massive, massive upgrade. They brought them directly into the main event, their #1 automation engine, Flow Builder. And this isn't just some little tweak, you guys. This is a fundamental shift in how we can think about and build our approval workflows. So what is a Flow approval process? Well, think of it as a modern, super flexible approval workflow that you build visually with drag and drop right inside the Flow Builder. It uses some serious power under the hood called flow orchestration to let you manage really complex, multi-step, multi-user processes with way more customization than we've ever had before. This new way of doing things introduces some new building blocks. We now have stages, which let you group a bunch of related actions together. Inside those stages are steps, which are the actual approvals or system updates. And here's the best part. We have decisions. This lets you build in some really smart branching logic. For example, a deal over $100,000 that can automatically go to the VP, while smaller deals just go to a manager. Super powerful. Now check this out. Here is some fantastic news. That powerful flow orchestration technology I mentioned, it sometimes has a usage-based cost. But, and this is a big but, Salesforce has made the flow approval process feature completely free. It doesn't use up any of your orchestration credits, so you get all this new power and flexibility for $0. Okay, so we've got the classic seasoned veteran and the powerful newcomer. Let's put them head to head. It's time for a showdown to see how they really stack up against each other. So what are the biggest differences you're going to feel? Well, with classic approvals, a user usually has to physically click a submit button. With Flow, you can trigger these automatically just based on a record being created or updated. No click needed. Another key difference is the recall feature. In Classic, you can set up automated actions for when a submission is recalled. That's a little feature that isn't quite there yet for the flow-based recalls. And that difference in how history is tracked points to a huge shift. Classic approval history kind of just lives on the record itself. But with Flow, all your approvals are managed in a central hub, the new Approvals app. This gives you a single command center to monitor all your modern workflows, which for any admin is a massive win for keeping things organized. So we've talked a lot about the how, but let's take a step back and talk about the why. Why does mastering this stuff actually matter? I mean, what's the real payoff for your business? Look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're using Classic or Flow. The benefits are just huge. You enforce your business rules perfectly every time, which ensures compliance. You streamline decisions by getting requests to the right people automatically, which kills bottlenecks. You create this crystal clear audit trail so you always know who approved what and when. It's all about making your whole organization more efficient and more accountable. And that brings us to the big final thought. We've just seen how Salesforce can automate a really complex, multi-person decision. So the question I want to leave you with is this. If your approvals can be this smart, what's the next manual process you're going to teach a Flow to do for you?